It's Stick Figure, man. Rap guy with the dad bod. What's in a name? Do you have a nickname? Well, mine's is Pookey. That's what I named the record after. When I was growing up, I used to be horrified for anybody to find that out. But now that I'm almost 40 years old, I've accepted it. It's what it is. But I asked some of my friends, in particular 7evenThirty, what's his nickname? He's got a funny story about it. Check it out.
Shout out to my cousin Pookey.
Okay.
It's Stick Figure, man. Rap nerd from the Black Burbs, you know what I'm saying? I'm back with the podcast of the name of my project, which is Pookey. I have a highly esteemed guest, an important guest, a very, he's just a great human, firstly, and he's also a very incredible artist. And I'm very humbled and grateful that he was willing to join me for this. It's 7:30, y'all. 7:30. Tell him what up.
Peace. What up? What up, everybody?
What's happening, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man.
Good.
I feel good. I'm in a good place.
Good, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pookey is the name of the project because of the nickname, the importance of a nickname. And I kind of talk a lot about what it means to come of age in the mid-90s.
Right.
And what that looked like in urban areas. In my case, it was the Kansas City Metro. In your case, it was Jackson, Mississippi. Can you kind of describe what it was like in Jackson, Mississippi during that time? And how did it either work with your personal self or against?
So, everything, it's like when I would consider you Southern, still, but in deep Southern culture is a melting pot of things, like a gumbo of things that kind of come your way.
Yeah, for sure.
By way of like New Orleans, surrounding areas, and then just Mississippi has a lot of concentrated kind of energy like that. In the 90s, growing up in Mississippi, it was like, I'm fortunate to know a world without cell phones and, internet and shit. You remember how it was growing up, Saturday morning cartoons and primetime TV and things like that. We had our things that groomed us back then too.
Right.
It was just TV for us or the radio for us. In Mississippi, it was like we were late getting a lot of access to a lot of stuff just because it's a poor, predominantly black, systematically poor area, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just don't have the immediate access to everything, but we was hip to stuff, you know what I'm saying, that we knew was dope, because I had cousins, I had one cousin in particular who would put me on to all the hip hop shit because of that Jackson, Mississippi, Chicago
pipeline, for sure.
So his cousin from Chicago, on his mom's side, would always put him onto, Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang, LL Cool J, hieroglyphics, all kind of just crazy underground hip hop shit and swag, you know what I'm saying, and bring it down to him in Mendenhall, Mississippi. He was in the country. And he was putting me onto all the hip hop shit. Every time he heard some shit, he dropped it on me. Boom, boom, boom. You need to listen to this, listen to this. So we was up on the culture back then by way of a lot of word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? BT, Rap City, and The Box and shit like that. So we had access to culture, but sometimes some of the immediate access, well, a lot of the times, the immediate access to certain things, material things, were not immediately accessible.
Understood.
So it was a fun time, though.
But it was a fun time. Yeah. What was it about underground hip hop that attracted you as opposed to what some people may say is the homegrown, or maybe even just perceived or accepted sound in the South? Like, what kind of like interested you into the hieroglyphics of the day, things like that?
Right. I was always attracted to the stuff that was like more, I don't want to say readily accessible. So like you could just create something right in your room and put it out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you don't need all this, you know.
Yeah.
Bling, you know, all this stuff. And then so I had a really good friend back then who would always put me on the even more hip hop. I had a god sister who she was the first person that I knew that had an Outkast CD.
Ooh,
and it was the Players Ball single, and it had the remix. You know, the remix is the dope one with the piano thing. That's the one I played.
That's the
and
one.
It had the instrumental.
That's the one.
And I would sneak in her room and fucking like dub that on tape, like off her CD. You know, stuff like that. You know, it was the influence was there. So
I got you.
yeah.
So, do you have a childhood nickname yourself?
But you know, like I always wanted like a real nickname. Like I always wanted like a mysterious nickname, like Q, because there's a giant Q in the middle of my name. You know, like I wish people, but I never like told people to call me that because I thought they'd be like, you know, pretentious or something.
Yeah. But you never stopped somebody.
I never been like, just call me Q, man.
It's Q.
Like, no,
it's Q.
Nah, but my mother-in-law my mother-in-law is the first and only person that's her name for me. And I didn't have to tell her to do it. She just started doing it one day and it made my day. So shout out.
I love that. So that kind of goes into what, you know, when you're coming up with rap names and when you're coming up with pseudonyms, and it all kind of ties in with the idea of identity, right? Like how you see yourself and then how others will perceive you is kind of a thought that kind of courses through the themes that I'm trying to get at. And I think a lot about when you're a young man, how you're wanting to be perceived. Maybe you're somebody who wanted to be perceived as tough or hard. Maybe you're someone who want to be perceived as smart and artistic. Was that something that you spent a lot of time with when you were growing up as a youngin? Like, I want people to think me this way, or I want people to think me this way. Like that kind of self-consciousness.
Sure. Certainly, yeah. Like at that age, like it's very impressionable. You trying to fit in and stuff, and already being awkward and creative and not athletic, and usually the smallest kid out of the bigger kids who wanted to play. You know, they want to play football and shit, but I had absolutely no interest in that shit. But you know, it shaped, you know, what other people's perception of you is important at that age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to be seen as accepted, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Like cool. Whatever that was at that time, you know what I mean? So,
and I don't think anyone is what you call that, like no one's above it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some people who kind of pretend that they were above that sort of influence or that sort of feeling, like, no, I never. I was always just myself. I never had that problem.
I think we eventually learn how to be ourselves, you know, if you're fortunate in that way. But like at some point, everybody, I feel like, cares that, you know, they're making a good impression or that they're, you know, fitting in air quotes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Does that factor in, do you think, in the black experience, a feeling of there's no like I'm trying not to over intellectualize it, but I think at least in the community I grew up in, you know, toughness, hardness, being able to whoop everybody, that kind of thing was very important.
Yeah.
It was an important thing to be seen as at the time.
Yeah.
Was that something that affected you in any way, or were you like a scrappy kid? Like you was like that?
I wasn't a scrappy kid like that. I had a temper, but I wasn't a scrappy kid like that. I was usually on the receiving end of the punching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I grew up. I had to learn how to be a certain way, and then I flipped it on them. Flip mode. One day, I bumped my head and flipped it on them.
Flip mode with the squad. Flip mode with the squad.
And it happened in front of everybody. So it was like, at that point, it was like, as you get older, you learn how to just stand your ground. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the environment is. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, because coming of age can just, like you said, it's just such an awkward process.
Yeah.
And I think there were, at least in my case, there were these like outside influences. Gangbanging was a really big part of that. Did Jackson have that problem in the 90s like every other major city?
Yeah, it did, because I feel like anywhere like what was it? Crack was big at that time.
Yeah,
real big at that time. Yeah, in the black community, and so what came along with that also like gangbanging and stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't directly exposed to it like that, because like my family, like we was always in church. You know what I'm saying? It's like I grew up in like my dad does the music, and then my mom she would sing, and so we were either at choir rehearsal or church. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, or youth night or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but like all around us, like you know what I'm saying? Like outside. So it's just the environment it was. But like as far as like being perceived as tough.
Or feeling like, did you ever feel like, man, I need to be in the mix though? I need to be.
No, I never felt like that, because if I wasn't, I always wanted that a long time.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I never felt like I had to be in the mix. Like as far as in the mix, like sometimes I have times, or had times where I wanted to be out on the scene, but I never felt like I needed to run towards the shit. You know,
for sure.
You know, it's always the fuckery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't necessarily run towards the fuckery, but you look around sometimes and it's like, oh, okay, it's unfolding.
Yeah, it's unfolding.
But you know,
I need to either lean over.
I get really calm in those situations, though.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, there's my way out. Let's do this. You know?
What would you say something that you experienced growing up as a young black man that your counterparts may not always be able to relate to, like it's part of that experience, especially during that coming of age time? Your white counterparts. Sorry, I meant to be. I wasn't specific. White folk.
So I mean, you know, the day-to-day stuff that we still deal with. It's like it doesn't matter what the age. It's like, you know, you're going to the mall, you're going to the store, but you feel like this person's following you in the store or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like that kind of thing. Or they're growing up where I was, because it was just mainly black folk. But my first kind of encounter with that was I was well into college by that time. And you know, for example, one of those situations that I don't think, you know, maybe is not so relatable for somebody other than us is, you know, being in a room where you're the only one of us, or one of two or three of us, and you're the only one that really, like, it's kind of like I don't want to say like act a certain way, like act.
I get you.
Like I don't like how that sounds, but like you could tell that even the other folk that look like you ain't like you. You know what I'm saying? It's like being like a get out kind of situation. You know what I'm saying? So,
for sure. You like, man, what's up with this cat?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal, but it's just experiences like that. Like you can get profiled out the gate. That unless you're a minority or whatever, you really can't really relate to that. I guess fully to that.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would tell? Let's say it's like one of those movies where the portal opens up and you can see your younger self.
Mm.
And you know how the movie goes, right? Like you find yourself, you're shocked that it's you. He's shocked that it's you. He's shocked that it's you. You only got so much time to tell this person some important information. Once you shake them up and explain to them that no, this is really me from the future.
Right.
And I only got so much time, and the portal's closing and it's closing. You gotta tell them something important. What's something you would tell young Q? All right, look, I'm gonna answer it for you. Make niggas call you Q.
Yeah. Did it just close? It's perfect.
No, but for real, what would you tell a younger version of yourself, and at what period of time might you tell this younger version of you this information, this important information?
I don't know what I would tell him, because I wouldn't want to like scare him. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets real. It gets real, son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you'll be good. Like roll with the punches.
Mm-hmm.
Take a deep breath. You will get through it, and you will be better. I promise.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking okay. So.
Yeah. Because anxiety levels at that age are just very high.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're in your own body. I was just talking to a buddy of mine about this. We were having an argument about. Excuse me. We were having an argument about suicide, and there's kind of like a macho position of I would never do X, and that
right.
I would never react this way because I'm a man.
Right.
Real man, XYZ, whatever, paint by numbers.
Yeah.
But it's just like when you're in your body, it's very difficult to explain or express to someone else what it's like to be in your body, experiencing those emotions,
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that a lot with young people. I think when you're young and there's so much happening at once and you're in your body, those things really do feel extreme. Like even if it seems small, it's like, Danisha said I was ugly.
Man.
And I'm in love with Danisha, and she don't even know I'm in love. You in your body though,
and you think you know what the fuck love is.
And you think, man, come on, man.
So
13, 14.
I get it, man. Like,
yeah,
at that age, everything is heightened because you are feeling a lot of those feelings for the first time. You don't know what to do with them. Then you got, it's because of your hormones, which you've never experienced before. So it's a very profound age, and that's why it's very important what you are exposed to at that age as well, because you are very impressionable, and very you have a lot of gusto for whatever it is you believe in at that time, and if you misguided at that age, it's very, very destructive, very dangerous. But if it's like nurtured in the right way or guided in the right way, you can do something with that. But like, all those feelings are heightened at that age, and so that's what I would tell my younger self. Like, look, it's gonna get this ain't nothing.
Yeah, this feels really intense.
Really real. This feels really intense, but you're gonna look back at this and be like, what was I tripping so hard about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's an important message. There was something else I wanted to ask you about. these times also have become very polarized with doctrine almost. Like people are very much like intellectualizing what manhood is, being a real man, alpha males, beta males, sigma males, all this old good shit.
Yeah. A gamma man.
A gamma man. Oh, see, I ain't know about gamma man. I thought that had something to do with Incredible Hulk.
It takes a real man to be a gamma man, because only a gamma man is a real man.
Okay, yeah. So there's so many different ideas of what this is, and I think I've mostly seen these kinds of conversations on the internet. So I don't know how much of them are like real conversations that are happening in real life. But do you have if you were to give a definition to real manhood or what a real man is, would you at all? Or if you do have an idea of that, where do you get it from?
That's a good question. The first part, for what a real man is, what my perspective and experience of what real manhood is kind of what you said earlier, lending to what you said earlier when you said like the whole macho thing about like, men don't share their emotions, and what I'm saying, feel unsafe, or like men can have all those feelings. Like a real man would admit to those feelings and try to be responsible with those feelings. You know what I'm saying? A real man would take care of his kids. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever he got to do to take care of the kids that he helped bring into the world. Respect his woman, respect women. Stand his ground, let people know, where he stands in his beliefs, his boundaries, things like that. So, yeah. Yeah. What was the second part?
No, the first part took care of the second part, because the second part was just more, if you were to put definition on it, would you even bother? Is it even a requirement?
Right. It's not necessarily a requirement. It's just to put a definition on it. It's just something that you do. Yeah. Rather than define, I guess that
There you go. I like that.
You define it by doing it.
That's profound. You know more about what you do than you do by reading about it or putting it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Putting some sort of putting together a podcast.
Man,
where you
it's a lot of
with
elements.
Women. Where you yell at women for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know why you're single?
Yeah.
You're single. Like I see that stuff so much on the TikTok. Look, I'm getting old. Like the TikTok, I put the in front of things now.
I'm telling you,
I'm getting old. But yeah, you see that stuff on all the social media now. I can't help but wonder, like, man, where did all of this come from? Where did all these ideas?
Everybody's got an opinion now, because anybody can broadcast from anywhere. Like we're doing a podcast right now. We're basically broadcasting our opinions and thoughts about stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the double-edged sword. Like, we remember a time where this wasn't possible. Now this is possible, and you find out it's not that more people have an opinion. You just find out just how many people out there have opinions, because everybody can, broadcast themselves now.
Did you feel like that? Sometimes though, there's like people have a lot of bad opinions, or not? I shouldn't use bad. That sounds like
I know what you mean, like opinions that
they used to get
absurd opinions.
Yeah, like you used to have a source for your opinion.
To go through.
Like you used to, like Walter Cronkite didn't just go up there freestyle and have his stuff validated. Like he had to source his material. Like now I can just be like, yeah, man, who needs feet?
Yeah.
Feet.
Exactly.
what do you mean who doesn't need feet? And then it is like an argument, a real debate will break out,
Right.
and people will pick sides. You'll be like, nah, man, feet though.
There's you know how you can Google anything, and sometimes I
Yeah.
tell my wife, like, my wife loves to research things, and she'll Google and search and research, and she'll get into this research mode around whatever this topic is. And if it involves making a decision about something, sometimes she'll get like stuck, because I'm like, no matter what you read, somebody's gonna have an opposing opinion about how good this thing is. Like, you have to just decide, right, what you need, what brand you trust, how much you're willing to spend, how bad you need it.
Yeah.
So
they call that analysis paralysis.
Yeah, you get overwhelmed with options, and that's the world we live in now. We are of an age where I always say we got 1 foot in old school and 1 foot in new school. We're like right in between. We remember the world without all these options, but now they're all at our fingertips, and it's so convenient.
It's so convenient. I think inconvenience. There's 2 things I think are still important: is inconvenience and shame.
Inconvenience is very important. Yeah, and shame, yes.
We need more. People are like, don't blah shame me, this shame me. Now, some of y'all need to be shamed. Y'all need to be shame on you for a lot of stuff, But inconvenience used to, it's the mother of invention or something like that. I'm sure I'm butchering that quote, but like, when you wanted to go to someone's house, and it was a certain, at least where I was from, the bus stopped running at such and such a clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is like, all right, well, I guess I gotta take my bike.
Yeah.
And if I can't take my bike, you just start trying to like figure out ways to make a thing happen.
Right.
And we don't have that anymore, because everything is just sitting right there.
If this, then that. Like
this, then
that mentality, that approach to life.
Yeah.
There are a few young folks. I'm not even down in the young folks. It's a few young folks out there.
Yeah, I don't want to down.
It's a few young folks out there who understand this world and how it works, and like are killing the game. Like,
for sure.
I had will definitely admit to that. But just like you said, being able to be without and then figure out a way around something, it does cause you to be a little creative with what you have. That's definitely the story growing up in Jackson. It's very creative energy there, because materialistically we may not have a lot, but you would be amazed at what we did with what with what we had. You know what I mean? Like if I showed you, my gear from back then, it was like, you did that with that, so.
Yeah, for sure. I watched, who was it? I saw Big Crit said he was making his first beats on the PlayStation.
Yeah, he was.
And I was just like,
that PlayStation,
how?
What was that beat maker? It was PlayStation, I had that shit. I was alright with it, but what he was probably doing was putting his own samples in it too.
That's crazy.
But they had like some preloaded samples in there. But I think you could take your own samples and put them in there too. And you're on the controller doing it. It's kind of like, it worked kind of like Fruity Loops almost. But
that's incredible.
Yeah, you just get creative with what you got.
That's incredible.
That's where the good stuff comes from.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you being willing to come here and share your experience with me. I think that is important that different perspectives are shared in this capacity, especially folks who look like us, so that we all know that though we come from varied experiences, that there is a through line, for all of it,
Right.
And sometimes it just starts with a name. You feel me? Knowing the name. I'm gonna start calling you Q though. I'm gonna honor that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
sure.
all you listeners out there, no.
This is Q Dog. Look, I've added dog to. You know I gotta add
shit.
something to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Q Dog, the homeboy, man. That's my guy. My guy Q, you don't even know. They're my people.
Shout out to my cousin Pookey.
First, I want to thank all my guests for being so open and honest with me and having a conversation. If there's any thoughts you want to share with us, go ahead and leave a like or comment in the little box underneath where you leave comments and stuff. And yeah, Pookey out now. Play this in your whip, shawty. That's it.